over 300 women at this social, right? Not nearly enough for the number of men who are there. Excuse me, not nearly enough men for the number of women who are there. So a lot of these women are going to come right back and keep trying. And wow.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight on our Monday night webcast here for Foreign Affairs. We are joined with the wonderful Dina, the goddess of international introductions and dating. She will be with us sharing all of her wisdom. We're really excited tonight. We got a really big show for you. Lots of different stuff we want to talk about. There's going to be some new footage here from the socials that have been going on this last summer here in July. Or August, excuse me. We got all kinds of different stuff going on. So really happy that you're here. Dina, thank you for being here tonight.
You are welcome. Thank you for having me. So my name is Dina, and I met my husband through a foreign affair 13 years ago. So it was a long time. My husband, I'm from St. Petersburg, so my husband went there to meet me. So here I am.
You know, guys, this is a wonderful excuse me. Try that again. This is a wonderful resource that you have here in Dina. She's been through the process, right? She married a wonderful American guy here. She has a wonderful family, and she's gone through it all. She's adapted here to live in the United States, and she's helped many men throughout the years to communicate with the different women that they're going to meet. She's seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And you can ask her anything. She's here for you. We don't just do this just for ourselves, just to be out there to show ourselves on YouTube and all this other wonderful stuff. We do this to try to give you as much information as possible so that when you do go over and you do put yourself in that position, like that gentleman right there talking to that beautiful woman, that you have as much information, as many tips as possible so that you can be successful, whatever that means to you as far as successful, but you can be successful. So take advantage of this hour that we have here with Dina. I've been around for 24 years as well, and I'm married to a wonderful Russian woman who I met in St. Petersburg via this company, right? And we've been married now for over 20 years, so I've seen a thing or two as well. And I may be able to give some advice, but I'd probably listen to Dina over me because she's a woman and she knows what's really going on. So yeah. All right, guys, we have a poll question for you. So we want you, because you drive the show. You're a big part of the show. We want you to ask the questions that you have, hopefully of Dina, because she's the one that's going to probably give you a more insightful answer. But we do want to talk a little bit about religion tonight, right? And how important religion is. So, Dina, the poll question is?
So, is a woman religion or luck an important factor in your search?
Yeah, guys, is the woman's religion and possibly the lack of a religion, okay, an important factor in your search? So let's start with you, Dina. Okay, was religion
never
important?
Never thought about it. As long as it's not completely different religion like Muslim or Buddhism, so I was totally fine with me. I never thought about it really till now.
So okay, but Muslim is a very widespread religion. Would that have been an issue for you? Do you think? Would you have to think about that more?
Maybe yes. Yes, I'll think about it more, but you have to change it. I heard you have to change your religion if you want to marry a Muslim guy.
Depending
So,
on
yes.
how strongly Muslim he is, right? There's all
Yes.
different levels of that.
Yeah, I'm talking about that.
Yeah.
If it's really
So if it was a
strong.
very strict, and so that maybe if he insisted that you convert to his religion,
Yes.
you think you may not have done that.
Probably not. I don't think I'll go
Okay.
for that. So,
All right.
but our religion was similar, so we never even talk about it. Probably.
Okay. And Buddhism, that would have been an issue for you too, or the same thing as the Muslim?
Same, yes, same. I'm not really, I don't know a lot about Buddhism, but I heard about Muslim a lot. So
Okay.
because it's we have a lot of issues with that in our country. So, but I never thought about it. I'll think about it.
Okay. It's interesting. Again, we've been doing this now for 24 years, quite some time, and religion really doesn't come up very often. Not much of a factor. With myself, Tanya is Russian Orthodox, right?
Yes.
Because most people in Russia are, I imagine you were Russian Orthodox, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, yes.
So, quite a few of the women, when you go to Eastern Europe, are going to be Russian Orthodox, which is it's Christianity. It's very close to the Catholic religion, actually. There are some differences, but with us, it was just never a big deal. And I'm Catholic, and so we just understand how this works, and it just wasn't a problem. And for the majority of the men that have used the service over the last 24 years or so, it really has not been an issue. Some of the cases I can think of where it was an issue is usually where the man is trying to find a woman of the exact same religion, and it's usually with our Jewish clients. They're usually not, I wouldn't say usually, but when it was in this instance where the woman had to be the same religion, it was usually of the Jewish faith. Maybe he promised I know one gentleman I'm thinking of, he promised his grandmother that he will marry a nice Jewish girl. And so he had to find a Jewish woman, and that was it, and it didn't matter. And I'm like, well, can she convert? But I mean, that's just how it was. And I've seen that a few times. So sometimes religion can impact things, but for the most part, it really hasn't been. But this all comes back to being honest with each other from the get-go, right?
Yes.
From the very beginning, and
Yes.
understanding what's going on with each other, and making sure that both people's expectations are where they're supposed to be, asking the right questions, and making sure that you are compatible in some of these instances where it may be something very serious. So, all right. So let's talk here, first of all, with Ernest. Ernest is great. He was at one of the seminars. He actually came to the one in Vegas, and he's getting ready to go over pretty soon. He says he's very excited for Davao City, which is coming up in just a few weeks. Ernest, you're going to be there. That's going to be amazing. Can't wait for you to get over there. We had, I think, 7 or 8 fiancé visas started from the last tour we did to Cebu. So that was just in August. So Ernest, be careful out there. Things can happen. All right. So besides the 30 social invites or so that we send out, is there a limit to the amount of ID numbers that we can give to the Davao City office for them to contact to set up one-on-one dates as well, for those of us that will be there for 14 days instead of 7 or 10? Yes, Ernest, you only get 3. That's it. If you give more than 3, we cut you off and you're done. No? Yeah? No. Look, when you're on the tour, right, we do 2 things to try to, well, we do probably more than that, but 2 of the main things that we're doing to try to introduce you to different women is to hold the social functions, right? To give everyone the chance to meet everyone. And you can give us a list of the women that you think you want to meet. Some of the men will, some of the men won't. It's not a requirement. You can do that. Most men will end up being more interested in women that were never on their list, right? And some of the men get obsessed with the list and have to meet the top 2 or 3 women on the list, and they're not seeing anybody else at the social because they're only looking for those women. And I would advise against that. I would keep a very open mind. Give us a list, but please keep in mind that these women are not waiting in a box that's just sealed for us to come over, and then they pop out when we're there and they just exist for us. They have lives. And they may have joined the site a year ago, 2 years ago, and we'll call them, we'll invite them to the social, and depending on what's going on in their life at that moment, they may be able to come, they may not. We just did a social in Nikolaev last night, and there was close to 300 women at that social. Wonderful. great event. You know, everybody got to meet, and it was great. And 2 days before that, we did one in Odessa, and there was about 250 women attending that. That's wonderful. So I know there's certain women that you want to try to meet when you see them on that one-dimensional screen, and that's great. But there's so much more to it when you get in person, Ernest. So keep that in mind. Keep an open mind, because most men will end up marrying someone that were never on their radar screen. I've seen that over the last 24 years. So definitely keep that in mind. But yes, when you're there, not only do we do the socials, we also do the one-on-one introductions, right? That's the other way that we really help to try to introduce you to different women. And you can go in every day, and we'll try to set up as many dates as is reasonable every day, right? You have to be able to attend those dates, right? We have some men that will set up 6, 7 dates in a day, and then they start canceling dates or just blowing off the women and standing up women. We don't want that. So we want to make sure that you have the capacity to go out on all these dates, right? And so we'll do that. And for the 14 days that you're there, every day you go to that office, and every day they'll be setting up dates for you, 2, 3, 4 dates a day, whatever it is. Some guys even do more than that, and that's fine. But my guess is by day 6, 7, or 8, right, Dina, he's going to start, selling on women that he likes, and he's going to want to see them more,
yes,
right? So he's going to go out on more dates with them,
yes,
and not be able to go out on too many unique dates.
Yeah, I think they should bring a list of the girls who, just in case, if you don't meet somebody in a social, you can always meet your girls from their list. And maybe you see them at the social too. So.
Right. All right. But don't worry, Ernest. You should give me a call before you go. I'd love to talk to you personally before you go, and we'll make sure that you're definitely on the right track, and I'm sure you're going to do right. I can't wait to talk to you when you get back from that tour as well. All right. Dennis wants to know when we can expect some videos from September. We're still in September, Dennis. Well, you guys are demanding. I'm thinking, wait a minute, where are we? This is September. It just happened. It just happened last night. So give us some time. That other tour, we still have people over there, and we have to get all the footage back. We have to edit. We have to do all this stuff. We got a whole crew over there working. They're working hard. I don't even let them go home sometimes. But we'll get it up there. Don't worry. It's coming. A little time. Mark wants to know, Dina, how will a woman react when she finds out that I don't drink at all? I think, did you ask that before? We've had this question before. Is it?
Mark, it's wonderful. So it just, you'll be very popular, because it's a big issue there, drinking at Ukraine and Russia. So you'll have no problem at all. It just plus to you that you're not drinking. So.
Okay, but Dina, what if the woman likes to drink a little bit socially? Like, she go out dancing, she wants to drink, and he doesn't drink.
Okay if girls drink a little bit there.
But I think what he's worried about is that the woman might feel a little inhibited, a little awkward if she's drinking a glass of wine and he's drinking a Coke. Is she going to feel like she's being bad or something?
I don't think so. No, it's up to the girl, but I don't think so. I think she'll be just happy that he's not drinking at all. So.
And she won't feel like he's...
As long as he's not against of her drink, like a little bit, if she drinks a little bit, I hope he's okay with that. So as long as he's okay.
Okay. So she won't feel like he's judging her, like, you're drinking, how dare you?
No, I don't think so.
Because,
normal girl won't do that. So.
Yeah, because I'll tell you guys, Dina's right. I mean, there is an alcoholism problem going on. I mean, not that there isn't here in the United States. You can have it here as well. But in Eastern Europe, it can be a little more pronounced. I mean, there's vodka on tap. I went down and had lunch once, Dina, and these 2 Russian guys had a bottle of vodka, a big bottle, right?
Yes.
And they drank that bottle of vodka at lunch at noon, and they both got up and walked away like they were drinking a bottle of Coke. If that was me with a quarter of that bottle, I would have been on the ground, this kind of thing. So, it is more pronounced. Practice, yeah, a lot of practice. I get that, but I will say, guys, when it comes to so what if Mark goes to one of the houses? He gets invited to a woman's house, right, over there. And when they do that, sometimes the family puts on a nice spread, and then the father has the vodka, and hey, we're doing shots. Now, what if he is in that position and he says no?
I don't think they'll argue about, have to drink. No, I don't think so.
It's okay?
They'll respect your choice. I don't think they'll put pressure on him about it. I think they'll be only happy. Oh my gosh, he's not drinking. That's they're going to be a good husband. So only plus.
Let's not forget the poll question, guys. Let's flash that poll question up there one more time. But the poll question tonight is about religion. We're talking a little bit about religion because I get questions about that from time to time from guys who are worried a little bit about religion and want to make sure that there's not going to be any issues. So, but is it important to you? Is a woman's religion or the lack thereof an important factor in your search? I've had clients before that we've worked with that were okay with a woman's religion, but were not okay with the lack of it. So if she was an atheist, if she had no faith at all, they didn't want that because they felt that that could affect the character of the woman, I guess. So,
Interesting.
and maybe that's a concern for some of you. I don't know. Okay. So Mark says, I don't think religion is that important as long as the two of you get along. Yeah, well, I agree. But when religion does start to get a little bit important, Mark, is I think sometimes when you have children. So let's just say you have two really different kind of religions, and then you have children. How are the children going to be brought up? In one religion, the other religion, a mix of both? Those are the kind of things you got to be thinking about, ahead if you are going to be in a situation of children together.
So in our family, we don't go to church. Like we believe in God and all that stuff, and but we don't go to church on Sunday. But we let our oldest girl go with her friends to church.
Oh, do you?
So yes, so I don't think it will be a problem. So
Well, that's cool.
yes.
I think every family deals with it in their own way. When we were growing up, I would take the kids to church, and Tanya wouldn't, but then she would do some other things that had to do with Russian Orthodox, and that's fine. All right. Lombard says, how well do the women deal with language after marrying a foreign man? Well, Dina, let's talk about that. When you met AJ, did you speak English?
I speak a little, so just a little. And when I met him, so we had a translator for 4 hours. We talked nonstop at hotel, a restaurant. So
Was it hard for you using a translator? Was it
No,
difficult?
not at all.
No?
I actually enjoyed it. Yeah. It wasn't hard at all.
Okay.
It was nice. It was nice lady. So I didn't even, think she's there. So it was like we're talking between each other. So.
Oh, so when you were doing it, you were looking at
Yeah.
AJ, he was looking at you,
Yeah,
and she
it
was
like,
just
yeah,
translating
just
in the side.
Somebody,
That's the way it should be done. That's a
Yes.
great way. Okay.
It was wonderful. So, and we've been talking for 4 hours. We feel comfortable. So, and next day we went to museum. So, of course, without any translator. So it was nice too. So it was nice. And then I knew some English from school and college and university. I just never practiced. I never talked to foreign guys, so it was a little bit hard for me. And then when he left, I went to English classes and I learned how to talk. So,
Okay.
and I still didn't learn enough. So, and when I come here in a year, I probably start talking. Okay. So, but we didn't talk about really difficult stuff. It was just around the house. I've been still watching a lot of movies only on English. Talk to him, to his family in English. Everything helps. So it's not really hard for Russian to learn English because we have music, we have movies all on English. So it's not like a strange language for us. So it's not hard for Russians learn English. It's not an issue.
And Tanya knew English pretty well when I met her. I mean, there were certain words that she didn't understand. Her vocabulary wasn't quite what it is today. Obviously, she's lived here for 20 years. But when she first came over, it was a little limited. But it was really pure, guys. It was really nice. It was this beautiful English, right?
Yeah.
And then she started doing translations like you do. And it just went downhill. I mean, you guys trained her, and you started giving her all this slang, like being pissed, and what's a schmuck, these kind of things. I'm like, Tanya.
Jewish stuff?
Yeah, well, she was translating for some Jewish guy in New York,
Oh, okay.
and he would always get on the phone and start talking about schmucks and stuff. And so she's like, what's a schmuck? I'm like, where you get this from? And yeah, it went downhill.
Okay, we're
from there.
waiting response from Tanya. Tanya?
Tanya's going to come on. She'll come on. So what my point was that once in a while, that first year or so, I could get out of doing something wrong by just pretending like she didn't understand me. Oh, I'm sorry, you didn't get that. That doesn't really work anymore, but that first year, it was very handy, guys, so keep it in mind. Sometimes, and Tanya will even say this, the less common language you have, the better. And that's kind of joking, but in a way, it's true too, because Dina, when you don't have the same language, right? You weren't born with the same. And you have to talk to each other and you're trying to communicate. You listen to each other much closer, don't you?
Yes.
You're really paying
Yes.
attention to what you're saying
Yes.
because you have to.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Dina,
It's
be
just-
nice. I'm telling you, it's like that.
I don't understand you. I don't know.
But the two people, at least at the beginning, right?
Yeah, at the beginning
you
try
really
hard
have to,
and,
you
know.
try hard to listen to what
Yes.
that person's saying. Now you know what AJ's saying. You understand.
Yes,
You may not want to hear, but you
mhm.
understand.
I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
right. That's funny. All right, let's keep going here. That's hilarious.
Okay.
Oh, da 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 da. Okay, I don't think okay. I want to go. David says he wants to go on a club tour to St. Petersburg. How is the weather in spring and fall? I see on the website that many ladies speak English. Well, you live there. How's the weather in
Yes.
spring and fall, Dina?
Depends. Every spring and fall is really different, but getting colder now. So in November, in the end of October and November, probably going to be snow and probably 50 degrees. And spring could be nice in April, May, but March is really cold. So
Okay. All right. And yeah, there are many women who speak English, and St. Petersburg is probably one of the
especially
most.
now when it's
Yeah.
a lot of resources online, so a lot of girls speak English.
All right. Lombard wants to know how well did the women deal with Oh no, we did this. I'm sorry, my bad. Rick says religion is not really an issue. Muslim might be difficult, however, as long as she doesn't try to convert me, being a Catholic. All right, that's fine. Okay, Alan from Australia. I just talked to a wonderful woman from Australia who's going to be going with a friend of hers with us on our tour in November and to help him a little bit. And she's going to be going as well because she really feels it could be a great thing for him. So she called up and talked to me quite a bit today. So if you're listening out there, hi, down under. I learned last week that's okay to say down under. It's not a bad thing. All right. Hi, Alan from Australia. So my question for you guys today is it okay to ask a potential partner, let's say a Ukrainian woman, to sign a financial document like a prenuptial agreement? How do they feel about it? Just wanting to protect my finances if things don't go well. And as for the poll question, it doesn't matter one bit as long as she doesn't push her religion on me. Yeah, tolerance, guys. If we just practice tolerance in a lot of different ways, it's a wonderful thing for a relationship, right? And you do. When you get in a relationship with someone, you have to be tolerant. So let's talk about what he's saying. The financial documents, prenuptial agreements. What do you think?
As long as not at a wedding day. So I think if you talk about that before, and we can see that the movies now and shows so that guys are giving up financial documents. Even he has something, so he has a really wealthy guy. So yeah, as long as you talk about that before wedding, that'll be fine. At wedding, no.
You think the women understand it more now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's keep going here. Jake says, I've heard that a lot of relationships end after a couple months. What advice do you have for keeping a relationship together besides like video chatting? Thanks. Again, Jake, it really depends on who you're talking to because, there's a lot of relationships that last a lot longer than just a couple of months, and it depends on how strong that relationship was to begin with will dictate how long it will last. That's one of the things, right? If it was really, really shaky to begin with, then it's probably not going to last very long. But if there was a good foundation and the two people are really mutually interested for the right reasons, then that relationship can last quite a long while. But you're right, there are certain things that you have to do to a relationship, to any kind of a relationship, but especially one that is, a very long distance type relationship that we're dealing with here. And I think communication is key, obviously.
Yes, at least you have video chat now.
Yeah.
Before we just had the phone calls and we keep it all right. I mean.
But you asked besides video chat, and so communication is really, really important. So you're doing the video chat, you're doing the text now and then, but you don't want to, especially at the beginning, you don't want to smother her, right? You don't want to keep texting and, oh, how come you didn't get back with me right away? This kind of stuff. You don't want to do that because all of a sudden she feels like it's incumbent, like it's a job that she has to get back with you, or vice versa. I've had the guys tell me, you know what, I really liked her, but she just keeps calling me every minute and it's too needy, too much, too fast. So be careful about that. But you do want to do fun, romantic, random acts of goofiness, right? just these kind of random acts of just doing something kind of goofy, kind of fun, kind of romantic, that she's going to think, oh, this guy's thinking about me. Oh, this guy really likes me, right? And whatever that is to you, right? I do. You guys listened to me before. I did some crazy things when I was dating Tanya, right? And I'm still banned from certain hotels in Russia for doing these things because I almost burned it down because I was trying to do stuff. But there's other things that I did with Tanya, you know, just kind of crazy stuff. But that was fun for us, and it was very personal for us. So everybody's got their own ideas. Yes, sending flowers is nice, sending white flowers. Every girl likes flowers,
Yes,
candy.
absolutely.
Nothing wrong with that. But something even more personal, something even more unique, out of the box, special, I think is kind of cool, right? Would you be impressed with that?
I'm not sure what exactly they should do. Don't burn hotel down.
No, you don't want to
so
burn the
that's
hotel down.
not-
That wasn't a
but
good
we
idea.
went to bowling. I mean, stuff
Bowling's
like that.
fun.
Yes,
I mean, that's different. That's
we went
fun.
to a movie. Even he didn't understand a word there, but he went there.
See, that's how much he loves you.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
And then being able to go over and see her again, right? I mean, if you can get back over and just spend some time with her, that is priceless. And really, and obviously both of you need to want to have that happen, and she needs to be willing to spend the time with you when you come over there. But of course, if the relationship is something that's serious, then she would be willing to do that. I remember when I went back to see Tanya the first time, it was like we haven't seen each other for 30 years. I mean, she ran up to me at the airport, I still remember, she jumped on me, and I mean,
Yeah.
it was incredible. And that's what you want, right? You want this mutual kind of relationship going to where you're both contributing to it and not one person is working harder or taking more than the other. That's when you know you really have something. So yeah, it's important to go back and to see her, spend time with her, and then she should be doing things for you too, though. Again, like I just said, this should not be all one-sided. You know, Tanya she used to send me cards in the mail every day, and she would write funny things on it. She would personalize everything she ever sent to me in a big way, and it was really cool. And I still save those things. I have those 22 years later, because we've known each other now for 22 years. I still have a lot of those cards and letters that she sent me, because I would get them constantly. And this wasn't email, guys. This was postal mail in my mailbox. I swear they thought I was a Russian spy because I got all this, you know, correspondence from Russia. This was back, you know, in the 90s, and yeah. Okay. All right, let's keep going here. So Jake wants to know how often we verify. How often do you guys verify the profiles on the site? Just wondering if it's worth emailing girls with 14s and 15s in their ID numbers.
It's David. Dave.
Dave, yeah. So Dave, you know, we constantly are trying to make sure that the women that are on the site are active. But that doesn't mean that we're calling the women every day and asking them every day, because there's thousands and thousands and thousands of profiles out there, right? So, but we do things like what you see right there. So for that to happen, we're calling hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different women. And we do that all around the Ukraine, all around Latin America, all around Asia. And then we're doing correspondence, and then we're doing gifts. So we are in contact with a lot of the women, and we remove women virtually every day from the website. You know, that's one person's total job, is to deal with that. Well, not just one, actually. And they're removing these profiles. So we do try to keep it as up to date as possible, but there are going to be some women that may be on there that aren't available for whatever reason, and that's going to happen from time to time, but we try to keep it as up to date as possible. If you ever find that there's a profile on there that for whatever reason shouldn't be on there, let us know, and then we'll definitely look into it, because we do not want profiles on the site that are not active, obviously. All right, Bob wants to know, John, it'd be nice if you would talk about a person's mindset. Are they looky-loos, or are they really serious about finding someone? You have to really know what you really want in your life and have an open mind with a foreign lady who really wants to find a man, or you're wasting everybody's time and your own money. You know, I would agree with that. I would say that the mindset before you go over is extremely important. Because, you know, this is kind of a big step, what we do, right? You're trying to go over, you're trying to meet that woman that you want to spend the rest of your life with. And that's not an easy thing to do. Think about it. Think about how much time you spend here in the United States, or in Australia, or in the UK, or wherever it is that you happen to be right now. How much time you spent trying to find that woman that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. It's difficult. It's not easy trying to find her. So just because you go on this tour does not necessarily mean it's going to happen. But when you do go on this tour, you're going to have a certain idea of what you expect to happen. And that's probably not too much, that's really not a good thing in a way. You want to go over with a totally clear slate as far as your mind's concerned. You want to just have a total open mind, right? I was talking to someone today about that, and he said the best advice I gave him was that I told him to go over with an open mind. He's in Kharkov right now, and I was talking to him this morning, and he said, John, and this is an airline pilot, but he said, that was the best advice you gave me, to have a totally open mind, and I did, and it really helped, because I was able to navigate a few things, whereas if I had my preconceived ideas, or if I used and kind of like what I was used to here in the States, and I transformed it there, then it probably wouldn't have worked out so well. But I tried to force myself to have a total open mind, forget about everything I knew about dating, forget about all the things that I would expect to have happen when I walked into a room with women and I sat down at a table with women, and just open my mind up to the possibilities. And that's really, really important. And then understanding that, you know, what you're trying to find. You can't find what you're looking for if you have no idea what it is. So trying to define to yourself, at least before you go, what it is you really want. Do you want children? Do you not want children? Do you want someone that's going to work with you in what you do? I have a lot of clients that want to find someone that can work in their business. Or do you want someone that is going to work on their own? Do you want someone just to stay at home? What is it that you see that you really, really want? And you really got to give that some thought. You really should be writing that down on a piece of paper, like the top 10 physical attributes that you want and the top 10 non-physical attributes that you want. Try doing that sometime. You know, the physical ones are pretty easy. I want someone like, you know, like Dina, you know, beautiful, blonde, all that. Okay, that's great. But then start thinking about the non-physical attributes that you want. And, you know, once you get to maybe one or two, all of a sudden it gets more difficult. Start really thinking about those things, guys. And then, you know, try to, when you go over, try to stay focused, because you've been in these socials, Dina.
Yes.
It's pretty easy to lose your focus when you're in there, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes. It's a lot of guys, and you know, you talk to one, you forget about what you talk about already, and you go to another one. But I just want to say that it's really important, yes, to figure out what you want in a woman. So if you live in a small city and she doesn't want to live in a small city, you cannot say that she's not as serious. She doesn't want to live in a small city, you know, and you cannot say she's not serious. She's just not into that. So you just need to, you know, find a girl who wants to live there. So,
and that's
but you cannot say that she's not serious, right?
No, I agree.
She's just not into that.
And that's another good point that Dina brings up. Is that's another thing. Where you live does dictate somewhat, you know, the women that are going to be attracted to you. Because if you live in the middle of nowhere in Alaska, that's a little bit different than living in Manhattan.
And maybe she's from Kiev, you know, she used to that big city, you know, and all that stuff.
Yeah. Although you have some connection to Alaska, don't you?
Yes.
So that's it. Yes.
Beautiful
I like
place.
that. It is nice. My sister lived there for
But I
years.
don't want to live there in the
You don't want to live
forest,
there?
you know.
No. Brian says, hi Dina, how far can the American dollar go in the Ukraine? Can you live there comfortably? And then to answer the question, it does not matter. If you have an open mind and respect for her, I would bring her to my church and see how she would receive the experience. Yeah, that's great. But you wouldn't force it on her, Brian, and that's good.
By the way, I can say about your churches, that's fun. That's fine, fun churches, you know, music and all, you know, fun, and everybody's so nice. I think it's beautiful churches here. It's not like in Russia, a little bit, you know, boring in religion.
So what do you think about the American dollar? Kidding.
Oh, why not? I mean, it can go anywhere. So of course you'll feel very comfortable there with American dollar.
Well, no, you can spend it there, but he's asking the value of it. So is it like worth more there? Can you get more for your dollar there than you can here? Can you live comfortably? Say if you make $30,000 a year here, can you live the same as on $30,000 a year in the Ukraine, or does it take more or less in the Ukraine? What do you think?
Of course, you will live better there, because I'm not sure what's Ukrainian money to dollar, but in Russia it's like for $1 you'll get 64 rubles.
I think it's about 27 or so hryvnia to the dollar
and
now.
everything is more expensive there, so you can, yes, you'll live pretty comfortable there. You can buy more, yes, there than here, I think.
I would say so. I think so. Especially like services, like taxi rides, things like that are relatively inexpensive. They even have Uber over there you can use, so it's kind of cool. All right, Dina, how do I narrow a list of 80 women down? That's what Mark wants to know.
How?
Yeah, he wants to know how he can narrow his list of 80 women down to something like
That's
20.
really hard. All girls so beautiful. It's probably so hard. Yes, figured out what you really, really need. I mean, age for one, probably age going to be. So look for. Think I know Mark. So if you like if you like, for example, I don't know Mark age, but if you 40, so not if you, for example, 50 years old, don't look for the 18 years old girls. So look for at least 30 and up. So I think age, maybe, I'm not sure what else.
Yeah. Well, English speaking, not English speaking, some guys will do that. Children, no children, that's a big one,
Yes,
right? And
yes.
whether they want children, all those different factors. I mean, what I would do too, Mark, is I would probably, if you really have 80 women on your list, which is a lot of women to have on your list, but if you have 80 women there, I would probably prioritize the ones, try to come up with your top 10, then maybe now you have a list of 70. And now those 70, try to pick the top 10 of those, right? And then I would get that list down that way. Then you have the top 20, and that's it. And again, you can do what Dina said, and just score them. You can give a score for all the different parameters that you're really, really interested in. Attach if something's really, really important to you, give that a little bit heavier weight. Maybe give that 3 points instead of 1 point, and then give the ones that are about equal 1 point. Give one that's a little bit more important 2 points, and then you score each one of those profiles. For all you engineers out there listening, I know because you do this, right? So you score all the profiles, and then you come up with a score for each one, and then that's how you do it. And then you see, okay, this one's got 150, so she's right up there. This one only had 70, so she's down here, and then that way it's a little bit more sterile, a little bit more easier way to do it. And my engineers out there do that all the time. You'd be surprised the things that they go through. I mean, oh my gosh, it's amazing. But they do a good job. Yeah. Then they married someone that wasn't even on their list at all, had nothing to do with their list, and that's it. So they did all this work, and they did this with 80 different women, walk into the social, meet someone that, oh my God, and that's it. And then they're done.
So just do your top 10. You always will work. So not sure you're going for social or individual introduction. So don't go to meet a lot of girls because you'll forget even what you talk about this first one. So maybe 10 girls will be okay.
Okay. So for the Ukrainian tours, if you meet a woman at the social, how is the cost of the translator handled on subsequent dates with her? If she always wants to bring along a translator on subsequent dates, what can I do? Can AFA negotiate a better price? And why the translators charge so much? Religion does not matter. Do you want to take that? Or do you want me to take that? You take that. So basically, the cost of the translator is about $20 an hour, okay? And you can try to negotiate that with her directly. And if you're doing multiple hours, you should be able to negotiate that down some. So that's not a problem. As far as it being too much, I don't know. I mean, the cost of an in-person translator to go on a date with you here is probably closer to $100 an hour or so, because I had to do that with some cases that we've had here. And it gets a lot more expensive than $20 an hour. And in many of these cases, the agency will get some of that as well. Her agency, a lot of times the translator may come to her agency, so there's part of that as well. So yeah, I mean, it's what it is. I don't think it's really that expensive. And if she wants to have a translator on subsequent dates, then that's fine. You just either use the one that she has, or better yet, I would use a different one. If she wants to use a translator on the first date, maybe the second date she has one that she likes and she feels comfortable with, that's fine. But if it's getting into the third or fourth date and you're always using the same translator, I think that's a mistake. I think you're much better off using a different translator, maybe one from a foreign affair. Have us arrange a translator for you, or find a different third-party one, because guys, sometimes you're going to get a different feel for what's really going on if you use a different translator. If you have the same translator all the time, even if subconscious, that translator might be putting her own spin on things. If you use a different translator, sometimes you're going to get a better idea of what things are going on really in that relationship, that new relationship.
And I think really translator and be like at the first date, and if you guys really like each other, I don't think you will need translator on the second date. So we use with my husband, we use translator only one time and never again. I mean, never in our life. So together.
But you did have a little bit of more formal training in English, right?
Yes.
You studied at the university, you just didn't speak it, so you understood
And
a lot
believe me,
more.
all girls did same. So
Yeah,
we
okay.
learned it in school and college, so they had some. So
Yeah, once she's
it'll
comfortable
be
with you
enough.
guys, I agree with Dina. Once she's comfortable with you, you really don't need the interpreter a whole heck of a lot more after that. All right. So Tom says, hi, John and Dina. Yes, religion has a big influence on my decision. The woman I am talking to has strong Christian beliefs, and that was a major factor in my decision to write her. I believe that although people have many differences, it's important to have similar values. I'm finally coming to Odessa in November. Woohoo! Good job,
Yay.
Tom. We like that. Yes. It will be a short trip because of my lack of vacation time at work. I told Maria I was going to try to come to Ukraine in March or April, but a job change delayed my trip. I knew I had to go to meet her soon, and so I just used the rest of my vacation time and bought my airline tickets. Who do I talk to in order to finalize my Euroclub package and talk about what I can expect on my trip? Thanks. Tom, just give us a call tomorrow and speak with Anna. She'll be more than happy to discuss this with you. She's the one that works with all of our individual travelers, and she will take very good care of you. You know, in all the years, I think it's been about 10 years that she's been working for us. She's never lost anybody yet. So that's a good thing, right? No one's died. There she is. She was just in that shot right there in the back of the little dress talking to the guy in the blue shirt. So yeah, Anna will be more than happy to help you. And actually, Anna's going to be leading the November tour. Anna is actually going to be on the show next Monday night. Anna and Dina are going to be kind of taking over the show. They're squeezing me out. I'm just, I don't know what it is. Beauty, is just taking over, and brains, and all this wonderful experience. So yeah, I'm getting pushed out. I know. Send your letters. Maybe they'll keep me. Lots of letters and everything. Yeah, right. Yeah, good. John's finally going. I get it. It's fine. I can deal with that. I have thick skin. It's okay. But no, seriously, Anna's going to come in next week, and I think Anna and Dina are going to do the show and answer all your questions, and Anna will be actually doing that tour in November, so that should be really good as well. All right? Okay. Did we answer everything? Yes. So you're going to call in Tom tomorrow and speak with Anna, and then she'll tell you everything that you can expect and all that good stuff. All right. Larry wants to know, for Dina, when you were in Russia, what made you want to leave or look for a foreign man?
So really, I didn't look for a foreign man. I just looked for a good husband. So I was ready to get married, have kids. So I've been dating local guys, and then my friend. So she went to English classes, and she wanna practice her English. So and she found out about that socials where she can meet foreign guys to get married. But she wanna practice her English also. So and she told me about it, and I just went with her on the social, and I really like it. But I never thought to marry a foreign man.
So it wasn't, I have to go find a foreigner and get the heck out of St. Petersburg, Russia. It wasn't like that.
No, never. And none of my friends, none of my girls who I know, they never thought about it. They just want to meet a nice guy to build a strong relationship with.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. So if he would have come from Australia, you would be down under right now,
Yes.
doing the barbecue
Yes.
and with the kangaroos, right?
Yeah.
And you'd be fine with that.
I love kangaroos. So.
She loves kangaroos. The Australian guys lost out. Sorry. All right. Billy wants to know how easy was it to budget your finances with a new bride who had no frame of reference for America? Not an easy thing, Billy. Actually, Tanya's a wonderful person in a lot of ways. And one of the things that, I don't know, maybe we get along well because of this, but she's very frugal. And so when I married her, and even before I married her, I knew that, the kind of person that she was. And that's important. You have to be on the same page financially. Finances can destroy a marriage, and it does quite often, unfortunately. If one spouse is like spending money like a drunken sailor and the other one is really trying to save and everything, that can cause such a conflict in the family that it can break it apart. Whereas Tanya and I are pretty much on the same, although she takes it a step further. I mean, I've told this before, but she'll make friends with a butcher at Safeway so that she'll get discounts on the meat. She will cut out coupons so that we can, we go out to dinner, we always have to use a coupon, that kind of thing. I could tell stories about when we were in Russia, how she tried to save money and almost killed me a few times because she was just trying to save $1 or so, that kind of stuff. So it wasn't that difficult for me. Of course, Tanya, when we married, she had a child from a previous marriage. That's common knowledge, and he's in Ukraine right now, actually. A great kid. He's 25 now. But you're taking on 2 more people, and so it does change things financially. It's funny, about 2 months into it, I got a call from my credit card company. They're like, your spending habits have seemed to change a little bit, Mr. Adams. Is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm married, So it does change a little bit, but it wasn't that drastic of a change, really, because Tanya, actually, family is very, very important to her, but she also wanted to work and do different things, and she would work, and she earned money. Sometimes she would earn more money than I would in a year, and that's amazing, and that's wonderful. I was not intimidated by that at all. Just keep doing that. Yes, it's great. So, no. All right. Jack in Minneapolis says, when it comes to religion, the more similar, the better. Catholic, I can't talk today. Being Catholic is a large reason that I'm going to the vow on October 10th. Okay, well, that's great. And there are a lot of women who are Catholic in the vow. Very, very prevalent there. All right. Hi, are Ukrainian women open to dating African American guys?
I think not so much like Latina girls. When Maria was here from Colombia, she said that her girls is pretty open to African American girls. It's really rare there, but not so much like it was before. Like even 5 years ago was really, not so much African American guys. Yes, you guys have some guys on the tour, so it's okay, I guess. But you'll have more success in Colombia, I think.
Yeah, I would say, this is coming from CS, I would say that, and we talk about this on the site as well too. In the Ukraine, it's very homogeneous, right? I mean, it's very white. It just is. And so they're not used to seeing African American men for the most part. So when they do, it's kind of rare. And I always say it's kind of like a double-edged sword. On the one hand, you're very popular because it's very unique. And so the women want to talk to you and they want to meet you, and it's great. There's an attraction and all that great stuff, and it's wonderful. There's nothing negative. But as it gets deeper and the family starts getting involved, when it gets deeper and it gets more serious, the women might get a little bit of pushback from the family saying,
yes,
oh, really?
I think it's more about families. They'll be afraid they'll judge her. So
Right,
yes,
right. And women listen to their families. They really do. We've had marriages from African American men and Ukrainian women, right? And it's wonderful. The only thing I would say is that if you do go there and you're African American, you're probably going to limit the population of women that are going to be interested in a serious long-term marriage relationship. But that's okay. I mean, there's wonderful women there that are, and if you go with that mindset, you're fine. And there's nothing, mean or mean-spirited about it. It's just their preferences, which is fine. All right. Chris says, a question dealing with engagement and the wedding ring. If she is from the Ukraine and is Orthodox, and we will live in the U.S., which hand will be better for her to wear the ring on? Ah, you've been doing your homework over there, haven't you? That's a little bit of a difference, okay? And what does it mean for a Ukrainian woman to wear the ring on the left hand while she is in the Ukraine? So you're going to deal with this one. This is all you, Dina.
So I don't know, but I used to wear it on the left hand, and it doesn't really matter what's matter to me, right hand, because you live in America, and you wear it on the left hand. You can change it in the right hand when you're in Ukraine, but I don't think it's even matter. So
in the Ukraine, they mainly wear it on the right hand?
Yes,
for the
on the
ring?
right hand, and she's a widow, she put it on the left hand.
Ah, okay. So she's a widow, it goes to the left hand.
Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. All right. So, but you just wear it on the left hand here?
Yes, and here and there, so I didn't even care.
Well, there's an old saying, when in Rome, right?
Yes.
And so you're here, so you would probably follow the customs where you are. And
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. You're thinking about that, Chris. I like that. You put some thought into this. That's very, very good, all right? That's deep. That's good. All right. We keep going. Ernest. No problem, John. I'll call you before I leave for the tour. The religion issue would normally not be a big deal on the regular. However, in my church, it is normal and even a goal and a desire to get married and sealed as a family in the LDS temple. This is important because it ensures that no matter what happens, they will be together for time in all eternity. I won't get into the whole thing, but I will say that it is very important that she is at least open to attending and learning about the faith of the household that she trusts me to lead, especially if I am supposed to be the head of the household in her eyes. I call it flirt to convert. He actually put a ha 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 in there, but I'm laughing anyway. That's hilarious. You got to meet Ernest. He's a great guy, and yeah, that's funny. I like that. Another question is, how long do you wait before you bring this religion issue up? On the first date? On the wedding night? When would be a good time to do that, Dina? When would be a good time, Dina, to bring it up, the religion issue? Because this is a little bit of an issue for him, right? I mean, if she I think he really would like her to convert to LDS.
Yeah.
So
What's LDS?
it is basically Mormonism. So being a Mormon.
Oh, okay. Well, we have a great friends. They're Mormons, and we let our daughter go to Mormon church too.
Do you?
Yes. So they're great people. So
Latter-day Saints. So
it's not much difference between Mormons and regular. Except they can have a lot of wives, I heard, right? So he's from that?
That's a more fundamentalist version of the LDS.
In Alaska.
They really don't, in Alaska they may have it. They had it in Colorado City here in Arizona, but that was a much more fundamentalist version of it. They don't do that any longer for the mainstream LDS, from what I understand. So
yeah, talk about that before marriage, because you need to explain.
But is it the first date conversation?
No,
is it later?
No, absolutely not necessary. Later, before you start doing your fiancé visa.
Okay,
Pretty sure.
That's going to be interesting. We'll see how the Catholic girls in the Philippines think about what they think about LDS. That'll be interesting. All right, Bob says religion would not matter, even atheists not a problem. Only time it would matter is if a woman was extremist in some religion or atheist belief. And I hear that a lot from guys. They're saying, it's okay unless she's an extremist and she really wants me to convert. I mean, this happened with someone that I know who married a woman from Latin America, great guy. And he didn't think that religion was that big of a deal for her, but she was pretty religious, and I think it was Catholic, but she got to the point where she didn't want him listening to music and just modern pop music, which normally wouldn't be too much of a problem, except he was a DJ. And so being a DJ, which is kind of his business to get in all the different music, and she thought that it was against her religion to listen to music like that, and was kind of imposing that on him. And that marriage ended in a divorce. And that was a case really where the root of it was a religious belief, that really caused that marriage to unwind. So yeah, it can. All right. Let's see here. John and Dina, I would want a lady to have some sort of religious belief, so I'm pretty open, including outside of my own. I don't think I would be compatible with Islam. However, Dina, when you initially met AJ, could you describe the meeting? And was it one of those you just knew, or did you have to get to know him better? Then you knew. Also, if you can offer some dressing tips for a good first impression. I know the shoes already.
Not again.
Dina, you are known forever now with the shoes. Like, what should I wear to a social in the Ukraine? Okay, so let's take this one step at a time here. Let's talk first about the meeting. So the initial meeting between you and AJ. What was it like? What were you feeling?
So it was in, I just want to say that it was in a fancy hotel in center of the St. Petersburg, in a beautiful place. So everything was so beautiful, except weather. It was a really cold winter. It was a March, but it was really, really cold. So, and I went there and I see him and I knew it's my guy. So he was a tall.
You knew?
Yes, he was a tall. For some reason, and he knew I am his girl. So it was just, just like that in the first meeting, like a first love.
That is so cool.
Like, I don't know.
But when you were going up to that meeting, so you were meeting him, was that the Europa? Was that what you guys
Europa.
met? Yeah, Europa's a beautiful hotel, you're right.
In the lobby. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's gorgeous. So you were going to Europa and you were walking there to meet him. Were you nervous? Like, what's this guy going to look like? What's going to happen?
Not really. I don't know. I'm not, I had no fear or nervous, anything. It's just, just a meeting, just a date, next date. So, no.
Okay.
I
All right.
I wasn't nervous at all. So it was nice, you know, and I knew he's my guy. So, and then we start talk and, you know, knew about each other more and more. It was like, you know, nice. So, yeah, we just knew.
All right, that's great. So, what about some dressing tips for Jerry for the social? What should he wear besides good polished shoes, Jerry? Okay, you know that already. So, what else should he wear?
So, nice polo shirt and jeans will always work nice. So, and shoes. Good shoes.
So, nice polo shirt, jeans.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, it will always work.
Okay. All right, let's keep moving here. Bill says, a few months ago, I did go to meet the lady's mom. It was a bit of a surprise she showed up for lunch with us. Really a nice lady. Does having a stealth meeting with mom mean anything? Well, that's interesting. So she just kind of popped into the situation, huh? I think that's pretty important, don't you? If she invited her mom to, like, I guess it's like at a restaurant
At
or
a
something?
social? Oh, no.
I don't know. He says, a few months ago, I did get to meet the lady's mom. It was a bit of a surprise. She showed up for lunch with us. So she just kind of showed up for lunch.
Okay.
So
okay.
the woman brought her mother along. Isn't that important? Does that mean something?
No, for her, it's probably yes. Her mom probably said, okay, I want to see that guy before, you know,
Yeah.
you start dating him. So, yes. It's like chaperone and, how do you call it? Chaperone? And,
Chaperone.
in
In the Philippines, kind of like
So,
that.
yeah.
Although I think they were already dating, and then they met. So I think that has a lot to say about what the woman thinks about you.
Yes, I think she's pretty serious if she brought her mom
Absolutely.
to meet him. Yeah.
That's a wonderful thing. Okay. Diego says, I see a ton of videos online about scams when dating overseas. How often do scams actually happen? Where does this guy go? Hold on a second. How often do scams actually happen in Ukraine or the Philippines? Well, guys, we talked about this all the time. And scams can happen anytime, anywhere, right? They happen here in the U.S. in dating all the time. They can happen overseas. They can happen anywhere. There are certain kinds of things that can happen that when you go on a tour will give you a lot of advice so that you can navigate your way around them. So that it's kind of like a little bit of a minefield sometimes, and you have to be seeing where you're going, what you're doing, and talk to our staff, and you will be able to not encounter those kind of things, but they can happen. They can happen anywhere. The Philippines, you don't see much of that really happening. I mean, from time to time, maybe, but not a whole lot. In Ukraine, maybe a little bit more, but you still got to be careful no matter where you're dating. I don't care, even in Phoenix, it can happen. Certain things can happen, so you got to be careful. But what's really nice about going with a company like us is that we've been doing it for 24 years. We've seen all these things, and then we'll give you advice. Now, whether you take the advice or not is a totally different thing, right? I mean, we talk a lot about certain things, and guys always, not always, but sometimes will ignore it because they feel that it just can't happen to them. But then, unfortunately, it can. So listen to what your tour leaders say, listen to what the staff says, and if you ever find yourself in doubt, give us a call, especially for you guys that have never been over. You know, if you're writing to someone, whether or not she's on our site, so a lot of guys may use other sites, and we shouldn't do that, but they do. So, but if you're doing something like that, and let's say someone's asking you to send them $500 because they can get an airline ticket to come see you tomorrow or something like that, before you send anybody money, first of all, you should always have met them first, sometime, somewhere, and have a better understanding of really who this person is, if you're going to give them anything. But even then, you should be very careful. But if you've never met a person and you're just online going back and forth with this person, then by all means, call us up and say, hey, I'm about ready to go to Western Union and send this chick $500 because her mother died, or her pet died, or her father or her uncle's dying, or whatever the reason is, right? And I just want to check with you guys to see, you know, and we'll give you some advice. Usually it's like, don't do that. And if you really want to do that, then do A, B, and C first to make sure that it's legitimate on what she's asking for. Because this happens. And again, it's not just with this kind of dating, it's dating in general all over the place. It can happen. So be very careful about ever doing that. And again, guys, if you're in doubt, all it is a simple phone call. You can ask Dina. Dina will tell you, right? If a guy asks you, you're gonna give your advice.
Yes, I was going to say about just it's a money issue. So if a girl asks you about money right away, even didn't meet you, so that's probably a scam. Big possibility. She's probably even a real girl. She just, you know, not for marriage here, just for money.
Right.
You know.
So be very, very careful
Yeah.
whenever you see something like that. Just call us and ask us. We will help you. Believe me. All right. Dean says, "Hi guys, when are you coming to New Zealand to do a seminar?" I would be down there tomorrow if I could. I would love to get to New Zealand and do that. But I'm thinking next year we're definitely gonna do Australia. And I'd like to get to New Zealand because we're getting more and more and more guys coming from Australia. Not as many, but we are getting guys from New Zealand as well. So I'd like to go do both. And so that's going to be something that we're really going to try and do, maybe in conjunction with maybe going to Thailand on the Thailand tour and then doing one over in Australia before we come back or so. I don't know, but we'll figure it out. But I'd love to do that next year. All right. Rick says, this one is for Dina. All right. For about a year, I've been writing to a lady in Playa del Carmen. How do I visit her there? Since there are no tours there, should I pay for the Imbra so we can exchange emails and phone numbers? So what do you think, Dina?
Yes, we have an agency in Mexico, and you can give me a call tomorrow, and I will tell you how to send email them and how to contact them. So it's possible, yes. Just give me a call tomorrow, Rick.
Guys, if you're hearing that little bit of noise, this is a noise that we never or very rarely ever hear in Phoenix, and that's rain. It's actually like really, really raining here. We're getting one of our famous monsoons that we didn't get all summer, and it's trying to make up for it tonight, I think, all at once. But we love it. When it rains here, it's just like, I don't know, villagers running out in the streets, hey, woohoo, it's raining. And we're doing like this kind of dance and stuff. It's so cool because we never get rain here, very rarely, so it's kind of cool. I know you guys in like Michigan or Ohio, like, it's raining, big deal, move on. I know, I get it, we'll move it on, okay. It's funny, because when Tanya first came here, her first November here, right? She just got here like in November. And the end of November, we had this freak storm, and it kind of snowed in Phoenix. It never snows in Phoenix, right? And 22 years or 20 years ago when she came, it was kind of like snowing, but this kind of really weak snow that doesn't really stay on the ground very long. And she was at like Target or someplace, and people are walking out and they're touching it and they're freaking out. And she's like, what is wrong with these people? I mean, because she came from Russia, where it snows all the time. I know. She's like, what's the big deal? She could not, now after 20 years, she knows. Now she understands. But yeah, it was so funny. She just could not understand what these Phoenicians were doing with this little bit of fake snow that was happening. All right. Let's see here. Okay, we are just about done here, guys. We're going to just wrap it up with a few questions here, and then we're going to be done for the evening. Steve says, religion is important, that it is compatible. Question, I've heard a woman on a fiancé visa can get a social security number as soon as she arrives. Can you say this is true, and how does it work? Were you able to get a social security number right away?
But I don't remember if I got it after I got green card. I think you have to get a green card first, your temporary one, and then you can go and get a social security.
You know, Steve, I think you might, I think there's a way to get it before the green card, actually, believe it or not. But what I would do, Steve, because I don't want to give you wrong information, and things change, especially lately, things have been changing a little bit from time to time. So for the most update information, and most accurate information, I would call Liz tomorrow and ask her, because she deals with this stuff all the time. And you can get her really easily, just, you know, dial in 0 the operator, ask for Liz, or extension 205. And Liz will be able to answer that a little bit better than I think I can. And it's been a while since you've done it, right? So, and I think it's changed.
I remember I got it like almost right away, but I don't remember before a green card or after.
Okay.
I think it's very easy.
Yeah, it's not difficult to do.
They want to give it to you.
Are there any accents that most Ukrainian women find really hard to understand?
You know, so far was so good. Maybe British.
The British? It's hard for you?
Yeah, a little tricky. Yeah,
right.
Because they don't pronounce some stuff, so it's hard sometimes to understand them. Even in the movies.
Yeah.
Still, yeah, it's like Harry Potter.
I would say for Tanya, the hardest accents for her are the Texans. She had a hard time with the Texas accents. She just couldn't understand those Texans very well. I had to do translation. I took her to like this small town in Texas, and I had to actually do the translation between the waitress and Tanya because they couldn't understand each other at all. It was hilarious. It was pretty funny. All right. What is the best, EC wants to know what the best way to learn Russian here in the U.S. is. What's the best way to learn Russian in the U.S.?
Talk to Russians.
Talk to Russians.
Yes, that
Yes.
is the best way. And of course, online courses will help you. But the best way to learn any language is a practice. Talk to a native who speak that language. So that's how I learn.
Immerse yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. It's funny, Gana, my son, he's in the Ukraine right now. And he's always had Russian, and he understands and he speaks it, but mainly he's speaking English all the time. Well, now he's speaking Russian all the time with everyone, and he's like, it's just coming back. So, and he's just so happy because he's immersed there. He has to speak it, and people are talking to him in Russian, and it's going back and forth. He's even translating for people. He's doing a great job. So. All right. Jose says a Christian lady would be a must for me. And in your opinion, would a Latino man be more in demand in Ukraine, Russia, or Latin America? So a Latino man, would he be more in demand in Ukraine or Latin America?
I mean, more success? Or
Yeah.
is that
Where we get more success?
No, Latin America.
You think Latin America for a Latino?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But in Ukraine, totally fine too. I'm not sure about Filipino girls, but it wasn't in the question there.
Jose,
Yeah,
I've had some
Ukrainian
wonderful, whether it's African American or Latin or whatever, a lot of it just has to do with your personality, and you can win over even the family. So the family may be a little bit, oh my gosh, it has to be Caucasian, that kind of thing. But you know what? If you are a sweetheart, you're taking care of that woman, and that family really believes that you are going to be the one that's really going to take care of their daughter, then it'll be fine. So it just comes down to you making it happen. And so much of this, guys, comes down to you making it happen, right? You're not going over there and you're not just going to pick and she's just going to jump in your lap. And, I think someone on one of these tours said, well, where I come from, I'm just used to the women jumping in my lap. It's like, okay, well, you should have probably just stayed where you were because that's not what this is about. You don't want that, right? Do you want to just go over there and have women just jump in your lap because maybe you're from the United States or something and that's why they want to marry you? You want to go over there and find a healthy, real relationship. That's what this is about. And when you go over, the women are wonderful. They have a different outlook. The cultures are different, and there's reasons why this works really, really well. But that still doesn't mean that they're just going to jump in your lap. You need to make these things happen. I said this last week too, and I went over it because I think it's important. All right. Let's see. Why are there no tourist socials in Mexico? Do you have to write a certain amount of letters before you're able to communicate? No. There were no tours or socials because we just don't have enough profiles here yet. And so a lot of the profiles in Mexico are from women who are moving around all the time, usually not right from that area. So it's a little bit more difficult to actually do a whole tour there. It's a little bit more difficult. And for some of those women there, you do need to write a little bit before you go meet them so they make sure they want to meet. Not really a set exact number, but you do need to write so they make sure that they're open to meeting and they have things in common and all that good stuff. Alan, call Dina tomorrow. She can give you more information on that and help you with that. We're getting late here, so I got to go faster. Dina, what happens if the lady I'm talking to in the Philippines doesn't want to attend the social because she has no one to go with?
That's about the chaperone, right? How you call them? What that means?
No, because they don't usually bring chaperones to the social because the social has a lot of people there, and so it's chaperoned event.
Yeah, but
I think he means maybe just with a friend to go.
Okay, yeah. So you can meet her on an individual introduction. That will work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she should go anyway, even if she doesn't.
More comfortable with that.
Yeah, but she doesn't need to have a friend to go. You should tell her you should go anyway, even if it's without a friend, because she'll make friends at the social. But like Dina says, you can do it individually as well. What happens? We already got that one. Larry's saying compliment. You two are doing a great job. Well, that's so nice, Larry. I appreciate that. We tried.
Oh
Tanya's telling me we're losing our ceiling, so that means I have a huge leak at my house with this wonderful rain. That's not good. Thank you, Tanya. Okay.
I mean, come on, go home.
Yeah, I know. So Neil says, in New Zealand, I talked to Joe a few weeks back. He gave me the advice. It's a numbers game. You cannot meet one or two women and really know what is your goal is for life. At the socials, there are 15 to 1 for every guy. Usually not quite 15 to 1, probably closer to 7 to 1 to 10 to 1. 15 to 1 is getting a little bit too out of whack, but still, yeah, the ratio is amazing. So did I contact? So I did contact a few just to see how they responded to a simple letter introduction and a brief chat about what I hope to find. Now I have to go to St. Pete, Moscow, Odessa, Kharkov, Kyiv, Potsdam, Romania. Okay, you're going all over. Yeah, you got everything. Oh my gosh. You're not. Yeah, I don't want to disappoint so many wonderful people. Narrow it down. You're not going to go all over the place. My gosh, that would be insane. That's just way too much, Neil. Way too much. Let's see. And we have Mr. One of Leonard from Thailand is weighing in. Leonard, how are you, sir? He's saying, John, I heard your comments about Australia and New Zealand. We have only ever had one of our translators, Ja, you met her, get married. She married a guy from New Zealand. So we do. Yes, that's wonderful. So we have had a marriage from a wonderful guy in New Zealand, sounds like, and this is Ja. Oh, I did, yeah. I did an interview with Ja. She was wonderful, and she was beautiful. Yeah, that's great. So that's right, he was from New Zealand. That's right. Thank you, Leonard. I appreciate that. You reminded me about that. I mean, look, there's so many marriages that happen every year that we never even hear about, because our job is to make that initial introduction, right? Just get that ball rolling, and then you guys take it from there and you build it and you make it happen. Sometimes you let us know about it. Sometimes you don't. Seems like Joe gets a ton of wedding invitations all the time. I know we just had one that came in a couple days ago from one of our clients, one of our executive clients. And that's wonderful. We love when we see that. But a lot of times it may be 1 or 2, 3 years down the road after you met through a foreign affair that you end up getting married. And so, you know, by that time you develop such a relationship that we are been long gone out of the picture. And that's happened. That's life. And we get that, and that's fine. But sometimes, guys, if you can remember to drop us a line, let us know. That's great. I love those phone calls. Where I get a call and I just wanted to call and thank you, you know, that I was lucky enough to meet my wife via the site. Or I've had women call us and thank us that they were lucky enough to meet their husband through the site. That's wonderful. That's satisfaction. You know, that makes all this well worth it. All right. Well, I guess I have to go home and put up a new ceiling. I think AJ can come help. He's a lot better at that than I am.
Easy.
Yeah, I know. See, AJ could do that. Yeah. Yeah. That's what happens when it rains in Phoenix. You know, the roofs don't get rain forever, and all of a sudden they just, so that's wonderful. Well, we'll deal with it. But anyways, guys, I want to thank you so much for all these wonderful comments and questions, and Dina, all your wise advice, your sage advice. Next week, guys, you're going to have Anna and Dina together on the show, and I think that's going to be great. They'll be able to give you a total feminine perspective, and I think that's wonderful. So mark your calendars for that show. That's going to be a first. We're going to have 2 wonderful Russian women, right? Anna's from Belarus, Russian. 2 wonderful Russian women that will be on the show answering your questions. All right, guys. So until next time, thank you so much. Dina, thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Good night.